Hey everybody, this is Hawaii This Punch at LKHE Entertainment. So I kind of wanted to give you guys an update. I've been asked a lot of questions on LinkedIn and just in general, the Facebook page has been kind of asking me a lot of questions, and I wanted to talk to you guys about our company structure. So I apologize. I haven't hired a flashy YouTube video editor. I apologize for that. Like I said, I'm a dev. I'm not really on to making videos. But so I wanted to talk. Well, first off, let's talk about Project Kiana. So we hit a snag in the development process of this demo, which is prototype Kiana. Our lead developer, or not our lead developer, our lead 3D modeler, she went through heart surgery just recently. It was supposed to be a back surgery, and because of complications, that's where the heart surgery came in. And we're still waiting to hear on the second surgery coming up. But right now, she's kind of in a recovery mode. She's been working at it. It's taking longer than anticipated, and it's not her fault. And I just want everybody to be aware that is why our production, our original date for the February release, probably will be pushed back just a little bit. The alpha or the demo, it's going to be free on download, and it's also going to be part of a community thing. It's going to be kind of a short, like almost a tutorial in a weird way to start out with. Which our first update is a little bit of backstory from Kiana, and it's going to have the combat system, which is primarily just a katana, cutting through enemies, kind of getting a good feel of how the game's going to be. And then the second update will take player suggestion and we'll implement that as it goes. So, like the second update, we'll be adding, different weapons. We'll be adding like the weapon skill tree to it. Each update will be different, and each update will also tell a little bit more of the background story, just to keep you guys kind of on your P's and Q's with that. But like I said, it's more that we're paying attention to the community and what kind of game that they want. So if there's something that you hate in the demo, if there's something you like in the demo, let us know. We're out here listening. You can hit us up on the Facebook page, the Discord, the website once that comes up, the YouTube channel, just whatever. If you want to Twitch stream it, or if you want to use it as content for your YouTube video, you can do that, and just say what you think, and we'll be out there scouting, and we'll be looking, for answers to develop this game to be something that you guys really want to play. And I know that a lot of companies don't really have that knack, and we're doing things different here at Low-Key High Entertainment, which that's also something that I wanted to bring up, was the recent layoffs between, Riot seems to be a new thing. I've experienced the layoff myself, not with Riot, but with another company, and it sucks. Like, it 100% sucks, especially, myself, we started a new family. I got a really good job in Arizona, and we moved down there, and it was like, everything was kind of like set in stone. I was like, oh yeah, I'm making enough money where my wife didn't need to work. We were, just about to buy a new house, and 6 months down the line, it was just, one day on a Tuesday at like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, they're like, hey, by the way, you're fucking fired, bro. And it sucks. It really fucking sucks. And I know that Riot, I highly regard Riot. Like, I like the Riot idealism, and I hear that there's a lot of good that comes from that company, but the way that they went about with those layoffs is just it's disgusting. And I know that, they were talking about like, oh, it has nothing to do with our CEOs making money or, whatever. And push come to shove, it does. It does. If you're CEO, like for instance, I was just reading up on Riot's salary here. Not their salary. Their dude, yeah, Laurent, their CEO president. So this guy makes, let's say, an average $125 per hour, and he makes 518,000 annually, but that's compensated. So that's a compensation fee. It doesn't include how much he actually fucking makes. So this is on top of what he makes, if that makes any sense. And the lowest he's been compensated is $50,000. So, and you know that a CEO of Riot's caliber does not make $50,000 a year. That's just the icing on the cake. So that's kind of what we want. We wanted to tear from that, honestly. That's the big thing. Because this guy makes $518,000 on par. And if you look at Unity, for instance, their top 5 make more than 10,000. This guy makes 11 million. This guy makes 32 million a year. And with those layoffs that happened, yeah, okay, sure. So the CEO wants to keep his check, or vice president or whatever, marketing officer, wants to keep his check, but you're sacrificing your employees' well-being so you can keep your Maserati, is what I'm putting in there. Like that's what I'm getting from that, is that you're more concerned with keeping your $32 million a year that you've literally put hundreds, if not thousands, of families, in the red or in question on what they're going to do next because you want to keep that. And that is absolutely fucking shitty. And the whole Riot Games thing, the biggest problem I had with that layoff is that a lot of people just up and they just had to up and leave. It's literally what happened to me, that you're working one day and then they just tell you to fucking hit the road, that they don't need you anymore, and there's been a lot of it going on, but yeah, they just got released. There was no warning. There was nothing about it, and then we're looking at, LinkedIn here, and I've noticed that most of these comments are about layoffs. They're talking about, like, oh, hey, I'm ready to work because I got laid off or whatever, looking for, freelancers or whatever. Like, people have just been laid off like a shit ton this year, and it's opened this year, and it's been last year's thing, and it fucking sucks. And so I wanted to talk to you guys about the structure of our company, and kind of like, hopefully this structure changes the viewpoint of indie developers, because, like it or not, it seems like the indie scene is moving up, and with that, it's kind of like I don't know, like a fight, I guess, between indies and AAA companies. Right now, it's a lot apparent with that game called Pal World, that Nintendo is kind of sitting there on their throne. They've been releasing the same copy-paste, platformer since, like, or I guess the Pokemon company has been, copy-paste. Same game, different graphics, You start out with 3 Pokemon, you go out, you go beat some trainers. There's like X amount of trainers, and it's the same game. It's just, and some indie guy was like, hey, you know what? I got some money to blow on this. Let's hire a small team, and that's where Pal World came in. And a lot of people wanted that kind of title from Nintendo for the longest time, and Nintendo just wanted to keep it safe, keep it simple, and they kept it simple to the point that the last release, Scarlet and Violet, the big change or whatever, it was garbage. It was garbage on release, and it's still glitchy as shit. And that's coming from Nintendo. They're a huge company. Pokemon, the Pokemon company in general is ridiculously big, and the fact that they can't get their shit together to release a game for their fans it's stupid. It's fucking stupid. So the fact that this indie guy came in and was like, hey, yeah, this is the world of quote unquote Pal World, where we gave you the things that you want. If you want Pikachu to shoot a gat, he can shoot a gat. That's great. But that's why what was it, Detective Pikachu? That's why that movie did so well, is because it took the nostalgic Pokemon that we grew up with as kids back in when we were 10 or younger or something, and it's taken away from that stupid fantasy world that it was fine when we were kids, but as we get older, we want to experience like the innovation, the growth, the differentiations, because we can't compare ourselves to the forever 10-year-old Ash Ketchum anymore, and even with the new protagonist, whatever the heck her name is, we can't really feel for her. I mean, we can at a certain point, but they're no longer part of our spectrum, I guess. So the movie Detective Pikachu, it was like in the nitty gritty world. They had like the Charizard Pikachu underground fight kind of thing. That's the kind of direction that a lot of the younger crowd back in the day in the 90s, that's what they want now. And so Power World was like that fresh feel to it. And I know that, some people are upset about it, especially like the Nintendo users. Not really Nintendo themselves, not yet, but it was a haymaker to the Pokemon Company, saying like, hey, look, we're just a couple of indie devs. They're still in beta for that game. And imagine they close the beta and they triple their team, 3 times, maybe 4 times or whatever, and now because of Nintendo's neglect, they might have a competition against them, and we haven't seen that since like Digimon in the 90s. So, which they won, and they've been sitting on their throne ever since. So it's one of those that like indie companies are coming up, and we're taking these franchises that we loved as kids, and we're making them like they're supposed to be. Like Project Kiana, you'll kind of feel that it's like a Devil May Cry in a weird way. It has that hack and slash theme to it, but what we did with the hack and slash theme is that we took the best parts of that hack and slash, the parts that people wanted, or that they theorized about. They're like, oh man, this would be cool if we blank, and so not only is this a hack and slash, but it's also got the violence, chopping people up, blood flying all over the place. It's got the different weapon switches that you can not only like create your own weapon down the line, but use like a complete arsenal, have different trees per weapon, so you can like mix and match whatever weapon you want with what other weapon, because it to fit your play style, so you're not forced to play the same style as somebody else or whatever. If you want to go defensive, you can go defensive. If you want to go offensive. And then the storyline is actually put together. It's well thought through, and but that's the thing, is that a lot of these indie game developers, now that we're older and now that we're developing, you know, it's starting to it's starting to change things. So eventually we'll get to a point where Need for Speed is no longer the top car game. That some indie came up with something better and more exciting that isn't going to break your wallet, or something like Mario that was like super fun back in the day, and now it's just kind of like a little, I don't know. Every Mario's pretty unique in a weird way, but still, something that's what the fans want, I guess. And because we're indies and because we're already broke, we can take that chance. That's really the kicker. Um, but the the thing is that if I'm going to say when, because like eventually these AAA companies, they'll start burying themselves. Blizzard's already doing it, Activision's already doing it, EA's already doing it. They're just burying themselves deeper and deeper because they can't seem to figure out how to make, one, a fucking game that works on release, and two, a game that people want to play, because they don't listen anymore. It's all marketing. It's like for instance, Indiana Jones, right? They're making an Indiana Jones game, and you're like, we have Tomb Raider and we have fucking Uncharted. Why do we need a boomer heartthrob of a video game? Nobody's really gonna want it, because it's just nobody's listening. Like, who, and same thing as like the Gollum game, is that you make a Lord of the Rings game, why the hell would you choose the most insignificant person in that entire arsenal to do a game about? Nobody asked for that. And that was the problem, is that nobody asked for these things, and they give us these things, and instead of listening to critiques, listening to streams, etc., and so on, because my biggest thing with Project Kiana here is that, like, there was a lot of just Dark Soulsy combat, and it was readily available, and Unreal Engine made it easier to do that. Unity made it easier to do that, and I was just like, I am so sick of these. Like, as a gamer myself, I was just tired of the slow combat. And yeah, it's cool, but it's not cool after the 50th game of the same iteration. It's just like, when does it end? Like, please stop it. Do something fun, So that's kind of what Project Counter was a little based off of, roughly. But I wanted to talk to you guys about structure, and that's what we're going for. So let me pop this up. So this is it's actually a pitch manual for investors. It's not quite done yet, but it's kind of the bare bones, and I do think that you guys need to hear this out anyway. But so the overview is that we kind of want to do different platforms between like comics, movies, shows, consoles, and like console like tech and everything like that. If you guys want to pause it here and read through it, by all means. But our big thing is that, like, for instance, our players, is that, we're not doing pay to win. We're not doing false advertisements. We're not doing any of that shit. What you see is what you get. And if you don't like it, talk to us about it and we'll change it. That's really about it. Is that we're here to listen to you guys, and that's really the thing. We're not really after your wallets. I mean, obviously we still have to like make a make a payment or make a profit here and there. We got to pay the devs and things like that, but we're not sitting here charging you $20 for a skin, especially if we're selling it to 3 million people. That skin could easily be, $1 or maybe $2 at most. There's no reason that you need to pay 20% of a video game for one skin. That seems ridiculous. The developers, on the other hand, we're just making sure that they're paid, they're taken care of, that we actually give a shit about them. We're gonna make sure that we're not doing the layoffs. And a way that I've gone through is that I won't, and I say this oddly, is that I won't make more than my highest paid dev, right? Which could go either way because I'm like, oh well, I paid this highest dev, 200 and some odd thousand, but we've capped it at about 100,000 roughly, plus a bonus here and there, depending upon if the developer has time to do whatever. So for instance, like if we have the comic book coming out and the artist is like, hey, I want to make some posters or some keychains or something, and we sell that, the majority of that payment will go to the dev as a bonus because that's kind of their outside of the work spectrum. But the other thing is that, as far as not laying off people, is that we can move on to different games. Like, for instance, our 2D developers, eventually their job will be done. And at least for Project Kiana, we'll have all the characters fleshed out. We'll have all the character sheets made, things like that, and then after that, most companies would just lay them off. They're just like, oh yeah, we'll lay you off and we'll hire a new group for the next game. But here we're thinking, no, you know what? Keep them. That's why we're releasing a comic book side by side to give the 2D artists, so they can keep working and keep, making their pay on things. And then, like, the other thing is to make a smaller game that's a 2D side scroller, so the other thing is that we're here to make just games for players, like it says specifically, and that's, like I said, listening to the fan base. We're aware that people pirate games. We're aware that modders mod games, and we're kind of open to all of it. Like, cheaters are cheat, but at the end of the day, if you buy a low-key high entertainment game, then that's your game. I know that Ubisoft thinks differently, but no, if you're caught cheating in the game, we might put you, if it's a service game, we might put you away from the main players, but you're not gonna lose your game. You're not gonna get, it canceled or whatever. You'll always be able to play it nevertheless. And we feel like if you buy a product, then you own the damn product. I don't understand why that is even in a thought process of not happening. The other thing is that we want, like, future developers. And that's just in general, like, not us particularly as like a hiring motive or anything, but we want future developers because we want better games and we want, more people to experience like what it is to be a game dev and things. And so what we're doing is that after every release, give or take a 2-year gap, something like that, that we will publicly release each game as a source. So you'll be able to pick it up. There'll be instructions on how the game was made. Obviously, it won't have like the cutscenes and the voices and all that because of the whole legal reasons. But for the most part, you'll be able to build this game yourself using Unreal Engine, and it'll have like a step-by-step tutorial. That way it keeps us on our P's and Q's that we're always innovating and making each game bigger and better. But we're also giving developers the power and the knowledge of what's going on. We're not hiding little industry secrets or any of that bullshit that, the AAA games have been doing forever, is that we want you to break this code apart. We want you to learn how it was made, and eventually if you have a better game that you want to release, then that's on you, man. That, like, 100%. The other thing is identifying different players. Is that right now, so my father was left-handed, and that's where this left-handed idea comes from. Originally, and this, I'll have to change this picture, but originally we had a left-handed controller that was greenlit from Microsoft, and then Microsoft later came out, was like, oh yeah, we can't do third-party controllers, we're not going to do that for the new system. And because the left-handed controller would be a third party because it's sponsored by our company, but it's made by Xbox, which is kind of a weird thing. Um, we kind of got shafted on it. So right now we're looking for a different company to make that left-handed controller. But it's not only is the controller left-handed, but the games are left-handed capable themselves. And so if it's a 2D side scroller from left to right, your 2D side scroller is now right to left. You start in second player, like you would if you were a left-hander, that you perceive the world or you perceive language or visually right to left instead of left to right. So and like I said, it's only like 12% of the market, but it's big enough that it will have a small impact. And plus, I mean, those are players that they've been neglected for years. I can't think of one game that was left-handed capable, or let alone have a left-handed controller. I mean, obviously there's ways around it, and then of course you could force yourself to use the right-handed controller, but the other thing is speedrunners. I love speedrunners. I think that whole thing is like amazing. Uh, just the quirky game breaking things that they do. And obviously this won't affect things like once they break the game and they're able to do this. But like for your average speedrunner, I guess, is that we'll put in a speedrun version of the game. So like you start the game, there's no cutscenes, there's no in-game cutscenes or anything like that. The special moves, if like for instance, like the Mortal Kombat like fatalities and things like that, there's none of that. It's just bam base raw gameplay, and there's a timer each time you try it. So you go in there, level 1, timer starts. It stops once you finish the level, and then it loads in and then recreates level 2. The timer starts again. That way you don't really have to have any like external hardware or whatever to see your time. And it's and it's a pain in the ass to also be like, oh, I got this like small break. Like if you don't want a small break, just go with it. Just boom, knock it out, speed run it. um the other thing is like the whole honesty thing is that like we are making sure that like right now on our Discord there's a tab that shows how much money the company's made, and then like what we're using that money for. And this is going to be on like all the purchases between like how much is sitting in low-key high entertainment to how much we spent on a mocap suit. That way that we know that when you purchase something, you see where your purchase goes, and that it isn't lobbied politically, or it isn't going in some CEO's Maserati or any of that shit. Um, the other thing is that we are also wanting to do a juniors program. This is obviously more into the future, but the idea is that we know that people can't afford school, or they just don't have the time to do it, and the juniors program is more of a we teach you how to do things. You choose your expertise. You can talk to our devs. They'll assist you with whatever you need help with. They'll have like different classes, and we'll have different classes. And the whole point is that you learn how to be a dev on your own time. So if you want to do 2 hours here, watch a video, do 2 hours there. And then the other thing is that once the program is done, then we can either queue you up with other people that have done the program to like make your own video game. You can use the low-key high entertainment resources if you want to, which the only thing we ask is that you release that game for free, and we let, or at least the demo for free, and we let the community check it out and everything like that. And this just gets like a lot more devs intertwined with what's going on. And if you decide to sell it, then we'll probably take like a good 5-10% or something. Just to help the program in general. But the other thing is that once you finish all the classes, then we'll make sure that not only will we give you a resume so you can use it on other, other jobs if you want to do that, or if you want to work with us. But we'll also sign in a sheet of actually like documentation work, saying that yeah, you've worked in this industry, you know what you're doing now, and it'll be signed by LKHE Entertainment, and we'll get the ball rolling on that. So that way you could at least get, your foot in the door for game development. The other thing is we want to work on something called the Trinity, and this is more, like I said, this is more into the future. But the Trinity console is like, it's a console basically, and the idea of this console is that we want to just stop the monopoly. That's really what it is. Is that you have PlayStation, Xbox, your PC, I guess, and then you have Nintendo, and it's been that way since like the death of Sega. With some systems here and there, but for the most part, we want a system that targets the indie group, and we kind of want to like make that a thing. There's a lot more on it, but we'll talk more into the future on it. But I just wanted to like let you guys know what we're about here and like what we're trying to do, and I'm hoping that a lot of indie game developers watch this, or at least follow us. And we want to change this industry, because right now people are digging their own graves and people are losing jobs, and it's just shitty. Like right now the industry standard is graphically awesome games for a shitty price, and it's a shitty price for the workers, the players, and it's just not sustainable. Eventually they'll wind up either killing the game industry or killing themselves, one of the two. So I'm hoping that by talking more about this, that people will be more aware and how they build their companies, and like what we can do, because we're indie companies coming up, that we can change the way we play ball now. And I think that that's honestly really important. But like I said, we're here for you guys. So if you want to ask us any questions, or if you want to ask me any questions, or you have something to tell me about like some type of scummy something going on, we'll cover that. Right now we had this issue with Quinfall being a scam, which puts a very bad taste in the indie industry. You have something awesome like Power World that came out, and now you got Quinfall, and you're just like, okay, that's 360 that. But yeah, just let us know. If you're curious about a company, we can investigate them and let you guys know about all that. Or like, if you want to tell us some news, feel free to say anything in the comments below. We're always watching, and we're always ready to reply. The other thing is that you can reach us on the Discord. The Discord is public now. And you can also join us on our Facebook page or our Patreon. The Patreon right now, I will let you know, it's free. It always will be free. The only thing that's going to be different is that we'll do exclusive content for members. And that'll be more like the devs kind of throwing in their 2 cents, or maybe we'll get like an early development preview or something like that. But the membership's literally there just to help the devs out. So that it's on you to join or not. Most of the posts will be free. Like right now we have a bunch of phone backgrounds, different colors, different whatevers, of our original comic style for Project Kiana. Like I said, it will be a comic book. It'll be both physical and digital, and other digital, I guess. But yeah, feel free to download these, use them as phone backgrounds, or something else. I will tell you, if you print them out, they will have a huge watermark on it. So I don't know what to tell you about that. If that is the case, if you want a poster or something, please let us know, and we'll get that addressed to you. Um, but there's that, and also if you want to take a little background on the characters or the character Project Kiana herself, there's two things you can go ahead and pause them, look them through. Um, but yeah, so that's all I wanted to really talk about was like the structure. I mean, the shitty layoffs. I want to rant for another like 2 hours about this, but video times. Um, but yeah, so just keep in contact with us. Ask us questions. We're here for you guys. Um, we'll give you updates as the demo gets closer and closer and closer. Right now, it is pretty darn close, but we're still waiting on a 3D model, and then we'll be doing the animations, and then once that's set in stone, it's ready to go. So yeah, we'll keep you updated. You guys have a good night or day. Bye.